Assalamualaikum, good morning. Can you hear my voice? Boleh dengar ke? Boleh. Alright. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning. Okay, it's only half of you. So, but we're going to start the class now. It's already 6 past 10. Okay, can you hear my voice clearly? Boleh dengar dengan jelas ke? Boleh? Okay, right. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start the recording for the education purposes. Okay. All right. So at the end of the lecture, please remind me to brief you on test one. So please remind me to brief you on the test one. Right, so I'm going to start the recording. Okay, so the recording was saved to the cloud for the education purpose. So I will go start the recording now. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. Allow me to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Right, okay,
Yes.
thank you. Clock and chat. Okay. Okay, right, thank you. Okay. So today we'll continue with our topic 3 on array. So, but we are going to actually focus for multi-dimension array and specifically on 2-dimension array. Right, so at the end of this topic, the student should able to learn about the following topics. That is include the most important 2-dimension array, how you're going to declare it and how you're going to initialize it. Okay. Secondly, after you declare and initialize, you should able to know how to access each element in the 2-dimension array. And lastly, the last subtopic for today's lecture will be covered on the operations on the 2-dimension array, including, okay, to process the summations for whole array, or summation by row, or summation by column, or find the largest numbers in the array, find the largest number in a row, or find the largest number in a column, and so on. So this is actually the topics that we are going to cover by today. So the simplest form of the multi-dimensional here is 2-dimension array. So last week we revisit on 1-dimension array, 1 dimension. When you say is a 1 dimension, that means in the illustration you have only 1 row, okay? So, but you can have many columns of it. So that is actually the illustrations of 1-dimension array. So when we have 2-dimension array, meaning that we have x and y, meaning that we have an integer array size of x that is representing row and y will be representing column. So you have some syntax like data type, the array name, followed by the square brackets that indicate x is the row size and y will be the column size. Okay. So we can have a valid identifier and declarations. For example, here I have the same data type. Again, it's the same data type for array. So we have type of integer. Declare the array name is 2D array, and I have 2 square brackets. 4 indicates this is we have 4 row, and 5 size here is indicate I have 5 columns. So when I have this illustration, you should have something like, for example, I have 4 row. Okay, that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4 row. Okay, then I have column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, should have something like this. Okay, should have something like this. That means 4 row and 5 columns. So this is actually 2 dimensions array. Okay, that is illustration for 2-dimension array. Okay, so far, okay? X and Y representing row and column. Boleh? Right, let's continue. Okay, so when we have 2-dimension array, it's very useful to represent some tabular information. Like, for example, here, we have first example here is actually multiplication table. Okay, we can have multiplication table. Then we can have some of the tuition table fees and so on. So this is actually representing 2-dimension array. Okay, when we have 2-dimension array, meaning here I can create a tabulate table. So like say here we can say is actually integer. Let's say is a multiplication table. Okay, So I have square brackets here. One is the row and one is the column. Can you show me what will be the row? How many row? So far? Senyap dia. How many row? Student? Huh? How many row? Student?
9.
9. Okay. Danish, 9. Betul. Okay. How many column? 9. Okay. How you going to calculate it? Is from here calculating until here. So we have 9. Okay. From here we are calculating until here. Okay. So we have 9. Okay. 9 column and 9 row. Okay. We have 9 row. We have 9 column here. Okay. What about this one? Let's say I created it as flute. Okay. Is a tuition. Okay. How many row and how many column? 3, 2. Okay, 3 row. Okay, and 2 column. 3 row and 2 column. Okay, 3 row and 2 column. Bukan 2 row 3 row and 2 column. Okay, so 3 row and 2 column. Can you get it? So we are going to ignore this part. Okay, label dia tak masuk because array is actually 2-dimension array will be the same data type. It should be the same data type. Kalau kat sini adalah from here until here. Okay, this one is from here until here. Okay, so this is actually the table. Okay, so that we can access the data later on. Okay, let us proceed a little bit more for you to understand it. Okay, a 2-dimension array can be thought as a table which have X numbers of row and we can have Y numbers of column. So another one is, let's say data type. Okay, see again is a syntax. Variable here is the array name. So you have X and Y, X representing how many rows that you have to in the table and how many columns, okay, in the tables. Okay, how many columns in the table. Okay, so when I say that I would like to declare A, which have a data type of integer, we have 3 row and 4 column. So meaning here we have 3 row, 1, 2, 3, 3 row, and I have 4 columns of it. 1, 2, 3, 4 columns of it. Okay, 4 columns. So that's why we have 3 row. This one is a row, and we have 4 column. Okay, we have 4 columns. Okay, so you can see that the index here always start with 0. Again, is 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this one is 0, 1, 2. Okay, so this is actually how you're going to have 2-dimension array with the index. Okay, index for the row and index for the column. Okay, index for the row and index for the column. Okay, so far is that okay? Okay, let's see. Okay, so every element in the array is identified by an element name, that is A is the array name and index is I and J. Okay, so I is a subscript for the row and J is a subscript for the column. Okay, let's say I have first elements here. Okay, I can say here array A with the index of 0, that is row 0, and column here is here. Okay, so we have 0, 0 here. Okay, so the second elements in the row number 1, the first row, okay, I have an index of 0. Again, this one is the index of 0, 0 and 1. Okay, and I want to access this one should be A, 0 and 1, meaning here is A with the first row and the second column here. Okay, first row and the second columns here. Okay, right. So same things go to this one, 0 and this one is 2. Okay, the index of 2. Okay, this one is 0 with the index of 3. Okay, index of 3. Okay, same go to other row and elements. Okay, let's say I here saying that this is the row with the index of 2. So this is row with the index of 2, then with the column index 1. Okay, in the column. Okay, 2 reading from here from the row, then followed by the column. Okay, so we have the index of 2 here, and the column is 1 here. Okay, to access it. So far, clear that? Jelas ke yang ni?
Jelas.
Jelas boleh follow Okay, right. Okay, follow the initializations of the array with 3 rows and 4 columns. How are you going to initialize it? Okay, so the first way to initialize it, we have here, so A with 3 row and 4 column. Okay, how to initialize it? We have the curly brackets here and curly brackets, close curly bracket with semicolon. In between that, each row, I organize it into row and column. We have first row, second row, and third row. I have first column, second column, third column, and fourth column. Okay, and I put the brackets here and brackets here and separated by a comma for each numbers and values. Okay, so to illustrate it in the table, you have something like this. Okay, you have something like this. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I have something like this. This is actually the first way for you to do the initialization list. Okay, the array with initialization list for 2-dimension array. The syntax. Okay, all right. Next, okay. So the nested braces there is actually optional. So you can actually have another way for initialization, which is equivalent to the previous example, is you just list out all. Just open curly brackets, close curly brackets with semicolon. In between that, you have long list of value. This one is equivalent to the previous one. Sama aja, same thing. Okay, this one and this one is the same thing. Okay, so what is the purpose of doing like this? It's actually easier for you to illustrate it like a table. Okay, so easier for you to have illustrations like a table. Okay, otherwise, if you don't want to care about the syntax, you can actually declare something like this. Long list of the value in a 2-dimension array. So the compiler will going to intelligently break it into 3 row and 4 column. 3 row and 4 column. Okay, so it should have something like this in the memory location. Is that clear? So this is the second way for you to initialize it. The simplest way for you to initialize a 2-dimension array. Okay, this is the first option. This is the second option. Is that clear?
Yes.
Boleh. Okay, next exercise. Declare a 2-dimension array, floating point numbers, consists of 5 rows and 6 columns. Okay, can you help me to declare? Write it in chat room. How you declare the first one? Declare a 2-dimension array, floating point numbers, consists of 5 rows and 6 columns. Write it in the chat. Can you do that? Okay. Float, numbers. Okay, right. Most of you get it correctly. So because the data type is float, I write down float here. Okay. So I give the name. I can give the name numbers. Okay. Then square brackets, I have 5 as the size for the row. And directly I have 6 is the size for the column, followed by semicolon. Okay, right. Okay, everyone get it correctly? Let me see. Alright, yang jawab ni, okay, kebanyakan betul. Okay, float tu Hazim. Float tu F kecil Okay, alright. Okay, was it full? Tak perlu oh, you tambah ni floating number. Okay, okay. Semicolon perlukan Was it full? Semicolon. Lupa semicolon. Right. Okay. So the second one here. Declare a two-dimension array of integers number, which consists of 4 rows and 7 columns. Can you declare the two dimensions array here? Okay, right. All right. Good. Shaza, Shafia. Okay, lagi. Who else? The answer. All right. Mashira. Okay. Iwani. All right. Okay, good. Okay, Maria. Okay, right. Okay, very good. So here is the data type of integer that we have int. Okay, stand for the data type of integer. Again, I can create a array name called number. Okay, then I have square brackets to indicate the size of the row is 4. Okay, then the size of the column is 7. Okay, then followed by semicolon. This is how you're going to declare. So far, is that clear? Is that clear? Boleh, Okay, right. Okay, next. Declare a two-dimension array integers number, 4 row and 2 columns. Initialize it with the value 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, how are you going to declare it? Okay, maybe you can have a piece of paper in order to write it, because somehow I think it's quite difficult for you to type it in the chat room. Okay, Zamil, okay, Zamil get it correctly. Iwani also, okay. Shafia, okay, good. All right, this is the first way. This is the first way for you to declare it. Okay, first way for you to declare it. Most of you get it correctly. So kita ada data type of integer. So call it a number. Let's say call it a number. So I have square brackets. Number 1 indicate the size of the row is 4. So second is actually indicate the size of the column is 2. The first things that you have to do actually list out all the numbers in between it. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then close the curly brackets and semicolon. So this is actually the first types of initialization. I have another one. I have here's integer. So I have 4. We have 2 rows. 4 and 5 under the group comma. So I have 6 and 7 comma. And lastly, I have 8 and 9. The group close the brackets. So this one is like illustration of 4 row. Okay, 1, 2, 3 row, 2 column. Okay. So this is illustrations of 2, 4 row and 2. Okay, 4 row and 2 column. Okay, you have something like this. So try it out the exercise number 2. Declare a 2 dimensions array which have 2 rows and 4 columns. We have 2 rows and 4 columns. 2 rows and 4 columns. Okay, how you're going to write it? 2 rows and 4 columns. Okay, Amni, very good. Okay, Amni, do it with the other option. Okay, good. Okay, we have 2 rows. So to do it again, can have the of integer. Then you have the variable name is number. So first is indicate the size of the row is 2. Second is indicate the size of the column is 4. So I have a long list. Wait, I can have a long list of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9 in order to complete the initialization list. Okay, like Hakimi. Okay, Hakimi buat dengan betul lah, right? The other way around is just like Amni dengan Wazifu tadi. So you can have a pair for it in order to illustrate it in a table format. So you have integer, number. First here again is 2 row and 4 column. Okay, when I want to illustrate it, I will going to illustrate it by row and column. We know that we have 2 rows. So we have each elements here we have 4 as a column. Okay, 4, 5, habis yang 2, comma. Another one is 6, 7, and 9. Then close curly brackets, semicolon. So this is to illustrate it equivalence to illustrations like you already declare a table which have 2 rows and we have 4 columns of it. Can you get it? Is that clear? Setakat ni okay ke? Boleh dulu? Boleh? Okay, right. Alright. Yang lain okay ke? Okay kan? Okay. Okay, let's just continue. Right. So here I want you to draw out. Okay, to draw illustration. Give yourself a piece of paper. Illustrate it. Lukis keluar. A 2-dimension array of integer number called num, which have 2 rows and 3 columns. Initialize it with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Two rows, 3 columns. Initialize it with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Illustrate it. Draw a table for it. Right, can you do it? Okay, we have a table. Okay, we have 2 rows and 3 columns. Okay, if you initialize it, you have integer. Okay, so call num. Okay, array name. Size row is 2, column is 3. Okay, so if you declare it, you have to know that you have 6 elements here divided by 2 rows. So that means one pair is here, another pair is here. So we have open curly brackets 4, 5, and 6 as one group, then followed by 7, 8, and 9 is another group, then close curly bracket, semicolon. Okay, so if you illustrate it in a diagram, okay, you can have something like this. Okay, so meaning here you have 2 rows. Okay, but 3 column. Okay, 2 row and 3 column. You call it num here. Okay, so you have 4, 5, 6, and you have 7, 8, and 9. Okay, of course, this one you have the own subscript of 1, 0, 1, 2. Another one is you have 0 and 1 here. Okay, this is the illustrations for the 2-dimension array with the initial value 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, can you get it correctly? Boleh faham ke setakat ni? Sebelum kita pergi operation?
Boleh.
Boleh. Okay, quite easy, right? Okay, next. Okay, so can you illustrate again here? Another one, we call it CFA. Okay, we call a array called CFA. Okay, 2-dimension array. 3 rows and 4 columns. Initialize it 2, 4, 6, 8, 3, 6, 9, 12, 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay, please illustrate it. Okay, right. Let's start with declaration. Okay, the data type is integer. Okay, the name for the array is cipher. Okay, then we have size. So 3 is the row size, and the column size is 4. Okay, 3 row and 4 column. So if you want to initiate it, we say that, okay, we have 4 elements in row. That means I have here 1 pair, I have here another pair, I have here another group. Okay, so I can illustrate it like 2, 4, 6, and 8. Then is one group, comma. So I have another group, 3, 6, 9, and 12. Okay, close it, comma. So another one is 4, 8, 12, and 16. Close it, curly bracket, semicolon. Okay, so if you want to illustrate it, okay, so you can illustrate it with something like here we have, okay, we have 3 row. Okay, we have 3 row. And I have 4 column of it. 4 column. Okay, so I can have 2, 4, 6, 8, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 4, 8, 12, 16. I call it as cipher. So with the subscript 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I can have here subscript 0, 1, 2. So this is the illustration for the table. Okay, 2 dimensions array. Is that clear? Get it correctly? Can you illustrate it? Boleh, illustrate it? Okay, good. All right. Okay, Cheryl. Okay, good. Okay, so far, okay, good. All right, let's move on. Okay, right. So when you want to access it, so far we already covered the first subtopic, that is declaration and initialization. Okay, we already know how to declare and how to initialize it. Okay, now we go for the third subtopic. Here is actually how you're going to access an array, elements in an array. Okay, When we want to access the elements in a two-dimension array, we are going to make use of the row and column index. Okay, index. So what is index? Actually, here we call it index. This one we call it index. Okay, so here we call it index. Okay, here we call it index. So you have to actually make an index for the row, and you have to actually call the column index here, okay, in order to access it. Okay, like for example here, I have an array called A, okay, a two-dimension array called A. So I would like to access the index of row is 1, and the column index is 2. So I will go to find the index here is 1. That means the value should be in this row, okay, in this row, okay, in this row, okay. But I want to I want to find the index of 2. So there is the index of 2, okay. If I cross-check it, actually I want to access this value, okay. I want to access this value. That is A with the index of 1, column index of 1, and row index of 1, column index of 2. Okay, what about if I want you to find for me, okay, 2, 1, what is actually the value? What is actually the value? 2, 1. Okay, 9. Okay, so how you going to find it? This is the index of 2. Okay, dia akan row ni. Okay, with the column, this one, so I should have something here. So the answer should be 9 here. Okay, what about when I say I would like to have 3, 0? What will be the value? 3, 0. Ada value tak? 3, 0. Tak ada value, because out of the range. What about when I say is 0 and 3? 0 and 3. 3, all right? So 0, index here, 0. And the column here is 3. So should be 3 here. Okay, right. Okay, what about this one? What will be the value? A with what index, and Y what index here? Okay, which one? When I want to display 11, 2, 3. Okay, 2, 3. Can you get it? Okay, another one. Give me this one. When I want to access this element, okay, this element, how I can access this element? A, 1 and 1. Okay, so can you get it? So far okay, huh? Right. Okay, exercise. Okay, when I want to access this value, how can I access it? A, 0 and 2. Okay, 0 and 2. Okay, okay, what about this one? A, 2 and 1. Boleh? All right. Okay, everyone should get it correctly. Okay, next. What about this one? It's an operation. It's an operation. What will be the value? $16. Sharul kata 16. Hani pun kata Iwani, Amni. Okay, right. So how you going to access it? Okay, do it one by one. do it this one first with the index of 1. So this is the index of 1 row here. Okay, with the index of 2, that is the column here. So I have 6. Okay, so 6 plus, so here is 2, 2. Row index of 2, okay, is this row. And we have another one is actually the columns with the index of 2, that is 10. Okay, so I have 10. So that's why I have 16 here. Right? Okay, what about the next one? Two and 3. Okay, what is actually the value for this one? 2 and 3, index of 2 here. Okay, index of 3 is here. Okay, so I have a value 11. Okay, minus, so index 1, 1, I have an index here 1, I have the index here 1, so I have value of 5. So 11 minus 5 is 6. Okay, right. So far, boleh ke? Thumbs up. Can you get it? Boleh. Boleh. Okay, right. Right. So we already finished with the declaration. We already finished the initialize list. We already know how to access it. Okay, one by one. Okay. So when we access and process two-dimension array, we have 3 methods to do it. Number 1, okay, the questions were going to ask you to process the entire array. Okay, entire array, meaning that you have 2-dimension array. Okay, we have 2-dimension array, 2 row, 3 columns, just like this. It will going to process the whole array of it. Okay, whole array. Okay, so the second way is actually sometimes the question only asks you to do a particular row of array. Okay, let's say we have an array. Okay, let's say we have an array. So we have, okay, 2 movies with 5 reviewers. Okay, movie 1, that's movie 2. Okay, reviewer 1, reviewer 2, and so on. So this one is actually wants you to get the highest value or the average ranking for movie 1. Okay, movie 1. Okay, so you are going to actually process only row. You want to have row, process the ranking on row. Okay, that is actually the movie average ranking. Okay, so this is actually processed by particular row for it. Okay, so sometimes we have some questions ask you to do the process on the particular columns way. Okay, particular columns. Let's say here I have few students here. Let's say I have okay, students here. So I have tests. Okay, few tests here. Okay, so I would like you to have a, let's say I have test 1. Okay, so I have student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4. Okay, so I would like to have an average for that test. Okay, test 1. Test 1 nak dapat average, the highest maximum that student get for the test 1 and so on. This would like you to process only column. Okay, only column of it. So sometimes it depends on the questions. Would like you to process the whole area of it, or maybe some row, specific row, and also specific column for it. Okay, it depends on the questions, how the questions going to formulate it, and you are going to actually answer according to the requirement of that questions. Right. So let us look at the how you're going to process the entire array for it. Okay, so when you process the entire array of it, okay, you should know that, okay, we have row and column. If you can recap for the 1-dimension array, okay, for the 1-dimension array, okay, it's only needs you to have one for loop. Okay, for integer I equal to 0, I less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then I plus plus. This one for you to go through the array. Okay, to go through the array one by using the index. Okay. However, when it's come across to two-dimension array, you have to process according to row. Then actually you can process according to column. So in order to control the row and in order to control the column, you have to create two for loop. Okay. The first for loop you can use to control the numbers index of row. Okay. Row index of 0 until the numbers of row here. Okay. Then the second for loop is for you to control the column. Step through the column. Okay. For the first row, okay, it will going to actually process just like this. Okay. You have to know the concept. You have to know the concept before you go further. Okay. Let's say here I have row. Okay, row index of 0, 1, 2, and 3. This one I have 0, 1, 2. Okay. So if you go into first row, okay, the first for loop is for the index of 0. Okay, that's why they got the row with the index of 0. Then the second for loop here is actually for you to go through the column. Okay, the second for loop here is go through the column. So you are going to process with the 0 row with index of 0. You can have 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Okay, 0, 2. Then you're going to actually exit the inner loop, go for the second row. Second row with the index of 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, and 1, 2, and so on and so forth. That's why you have two for loop. One is control the numbers or index of row. One is actually control the index of column. Okay, so that you can go through the entire array, the value of entire array. Can you get it? Boleh ke? So this is actually for you to process the array. Okay, using two for loop. One is control the row, the other one is control the column. So you are going to process row by row. First row, column 1, 2, and 3. Second row, column 1, 2, and 3, and so on. Okay. So what about this one is actually to initialize it. You are going to see this is initialize everything with 0. Once finish this one, dia akan jadi kosong semua dalam ni. Okay, initialize it. So whenever you want to input something to do two-dimension array, 2D array, so you should actually use another for loop and another loop for the column, and you will see you are going to see in from keyboard. Enter something from keyboard, and it will going to step through 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Okay. And go for another one, 1, 1, 1, and 1, 2. Okay. Then go for another one, 2, 0, 0, 3, 1, and 3, 2. Okay, row by row. Okay, row ni. Then after that, second one, row with the index of 1. Okay, row with the index of 2. And row with the index of 3. Can you get it? So this is actually input value to entire array. Again, it's entire array. Is that clear? Boleh ke? Okay, next one is print. Okay, again, want to display the entire array. So entire area of it is actually using another for loop. Okay, this one for loop to control the row and another for loop to control the column. Again, it asks you to see out. Okay, see out. So what is actually the function for this end line? You are going to print one dead end line, another one, end line, another one, end line, another one. Value there. It's just like table kat sini. Okay, dia akan macam illustrate table like this. So you are going to have, okay, one, habis je column tu dia akan add satu end line kat sini. That means this see out is outside the control loop for the column. Habis the column swept through all the column, dead end line. So this is actually see out here, whole things here, see out here. Then we have end line at the end. So in order to start with the new line later on. Okay, so this is how you're going to display the whole array, right? So we take a break for 8 minutes. So we meet again at 11 to continue the rest of the lecture. Okay, take a break, 8 minutes. Okay, welcome back, student. Can you hear me? Boleh? Okay, right. Okay, let us continue a little bit more. Okay, so the second things here is actually you are going to process the row of array, okay, according to the requirement. So let's say the question might ask you to find the sum of a row, okay, sum for a row. So you are going to notice that for each row, okay, you have to create a sum for each row. So in this case, you are going to have for loop, okay. We have two for loop. Here is the things that I would like you to pay attention. I will going to reset sum to 0 for each row. Okay, for each row. So the summations here is actually indicate this is actually the sum for each row. Okay, so it's actually the difference for it. If you want to calculate the entire array with sum should be outside two for loop. Okay. However, when you want to calculate a single row, each row you want to calculate the sum for it. So make sure that you have to put and reset the sum into here, okay, before you go for your column operation. Okay, so this one is always reset the sum to 0 for each row. Okay, for each row. Okay, to reset the sum, the value for the variable sum to 0 for each row, so that you can calculate the sum for each row. Okay, so this is the tips of it. So in order to find the largest numbers or elements in the row, okay, we have two types of questions. Sometimes it will going to ask you to have a specific row, like for example, row 4. Okay, dia kata find the largest value for row 4. Let's say is actually they say that okay, find the largest rating for movie 4, row 4. Okay, so this is actually how you're going to actually set it. Again, set the largest to the first element in that row. Here is requirements. Here is just like matrix of full and 0. So meaning that you have row, okay, you have row, let's say you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, row number 4, okay, here, all right, another one. Okay, so index, so here is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, I would like you to calculate this one, the largest for this one. So it might have a lot of value here, okay, a lot of value here, but I want you to only focus on this row. Okay, so you have set the row. So the first elements here, you set it as the largest. Okay, set it as the largest. Then compare with others elements in that specific row of it. So that's why we fix the row value. This one should be the 4. So this one will be changeable from 1, 2, 3, and so on. Depends on the column size. Depends on the column size. So here is you are going to find the largest value in a row. Okay, largest value in a row. Okay, so another type of questions is ask you to find the largest element in each row. Okay, in each row, saying that you have to find the largest element in each row. Make sure that you have here, just now you only have one for loop. Here, in order to process for this one in each row, meaning that you are processing a 2-dimension array. Once it involves 2-dimension array, you have two for loop. One is control the row, another one is control the column. Okay, so here is actually finding the largest for each row. Here you are reset, okay, reset the largest to the first element in each row. Okay, first element in each row. So here, just illustrating here, let's say, okay, we have few row here. Okay, you have few row and column. So here is actually preset the first one is the largest. Then you start compare. Okay. After compare, then you are going to give after the compare, so you are going to see out the largest element in row number 1 is which one. Okay. So again, when you repeat the row, you are going to reset it to the another first one is here. Okay. This one is going to preset. The first element in each row, you are going to preset it as largest, then start compare. Okay. So kemungkinan besar dia punya largest elements will be somewhere here. Okay, just now maybe somewhere here, the largest value. Okay, so things like this is going to actually going to ask in the test, in the final, but the pattern is here. Okay, the answer for the pattern is here. Right? And the third one is process on the column. Okay, process on the column. When it's process on the column, so this is very special one. And so far, dalam final test tu ada 1 tahun dia keluar macam tu. So it's actually is something that is not regularly do it lah. So people were going to read the row first, then column. So this one is actually when it asks you to process in the column. Okay, see the first for loop is specifically for the process of column. Okay. Then the second row here is for loop here is actually for row. So this is the case when we have, let's say, just now I say, so you have few tests here. Okay, you have few tests here and you have a lot of students. Okay, you have a lot of students. Okay, so this one is test 1, this one is test 2, and this one is test 3. Okay, I want to find the average for test 1, the maximum for test 1 and test 2 and so on. So this is actually can ask you to go for the average score in a test, or you can have a larger score in the test, or what will be the minimum score in the test and so on. So here allows you to process by column. Meaning here, I want you to process by column. Okay, so this is one example of it. Okay, one example of it. So for each column, so I preset it as 0. Reset sum to 0 in each column. Okay, I preset it to 0. In order to find the sum for test 1, sum for test 2, and sum for test 3. Okay, so this is how you're going to process it if it's required to process the particular column of an array. Okay. Okay, specific column for it. Okay, let's say you movie. So here is a reviewer. Okay, reviewer, let's say this is a reviewer with the reviewer number 3. Okay, reviewer number 1, number 2, number 3. So it wants you to find a specific column. What will be the average score for that reviewer? Average ranking for that reviewer. So, or the largest value that given by the reviewer. So here is the specific column for it. So when it's specific column, you are going to see only one loop, one for loop for it. Why? Because you already fixed the column. You already fixed the column, just like row. You fix a row, you hanya gunakan untuk satu for loop untuk loop through the column. Here, same thing. You already fix a column, so you only have one row, one for loop in order to go through the row. Okay, go through the row. So another one is here, finding in every column. Okay, largest in every column. Okay, largest value in every column. So you are going to see again when it's each column, every column here. So you need to have a 2-dimension array process. Need you to have 2 for loop. One is control the column, and one is control the row. Okay. So after comparison, you are going to find the largest value in the column. Okay, largest value in the column. So this is actually the patterns of it. Patterns of it. Okay, so in order to understand it, I have some coding here. Okay, I have some coding here. However, I would like you to try out this one first, a simple one. Declare and initial the following two-dimension array with the following value. Then display the array. Ask you to see out and display the array using see out to display the array. Okay, can you do it? Okay, let's go through together. So we already learned how to declare and initialize it, right? Okay, first answer. Shafia, any questions? Shafia, questions? Salah tekan. Okay, right. Okay, right. Okay, when you want to declare and initialize it, okay, it's like normal, okay? So here the content is the same data type, that is integer. So you declare it as integer as a data type. Let's say here is saying that is A. The array name is A. Okay, so what about the row size? Can you give me the row size and the column size? For initialization, you need the size. What will be the row size of it? 3. Size for the column 4. All right. So here is how you declare. Okay. Row size is 3. Okay, kita ada 3 row. 1, 2, 3 row. Okay. So we have 4 column. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 column. So we have A with square brackets, 3 rows and 4 columns. So initialize it, we have an equal sign, open curly brackets, then we have a pair for it, 0, 1, 2, 3, comma. So we have 4, 5, 6, and 7, then comma. So we have 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, then close bracket, semicolon. Okay, this is how you declare and initialize. You already answered the first part of the questions. Now, the second part of the question asks you to display. Okay, display it. So you already have the value inside it. So in order to display, you have to use 2 for loop to control. For loop number 1 is you want to control the row. Okay, let's say I use R as a row indicator. Row starting from index of 0 here. Okay, index of 0. Okay, now I know that row have to less than the size number. That is 2 until 2, right? So I have write something here. Then I have R++ until this point. Can you understand it? Boleh faham ke? Boleh. So the first for loop is control the row index of it. So we have 0. Okay, start dengan R with 0. Okay, R can process into 1. R can go into 2. Okay, once R reach 3, dia akan exit the loop. Betul lah. Okay, I check for it. Okay, next. I have to create another for loop to for me to control the column. Column index start with 0. Why? Because this one start with 0. Okay. So again, I would like to control for the column. So we know that it's only I will going to control 4 here. So that means we're going to step through 0, 1, 2, and 3. When it reach 4, you are going to exit the loop. That's why it's correct. So I have C++ here for me to control the index of the column. Okay. Now I already know how to control the row and the column. The question asked me to display the array. So in order to display array, I need to see out. Okay, I need a see out. Here, I would like to have a see out. See out, okay. Then I have here, see out what? I have to see out A with, what is value inside here? Someone help me. How to control it?
R and C.
R is a variable control the row. C is a variable control the column. Okay, so if I want to have a space in between the numbers, I add a space in between it. Okay, after each column, I would like to have a end line there. So I add another line that is end line for each column, each row. After each row, I add a C out for the end line in order for you to go for a next line for it. So it will going to print out nicely 0 with a space, 1 with a space, 2 with a space, then 3. Then after that, end line, you are going to print 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then end line is going to print 8, 9, 10, and 11 on the screen. Can you understand it? So far okay ke? Boleh? Okay, next. Okay, what about this one? Find the sum of this array. Sum for this array. Find sum for this array. Get a piece of paper, try to write it. Okay, we are going to compare the answer later on. All right, let's go through together. Okay, again, you have to declare it like usual, integer. Okay, A with the size of 3 again, column, 3 row, and 4 column. Okay, so after that, with initialize list, you have the first group 0, 1, 2, and 3. One group. You have the second group 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, we have third group that is 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, close curly bracket, semicolon. Okay, right. Now it asks you to find the sum for this array. Is control the row index. So we have integer. Again, I would like to prefer to use R representing row equal to 0. Again, why 0? Because index always start with 0. Okay, so I have to control the loop for the row. Okay, what will be the control here? That will be actually will be until 2. So I put 3 here so that it will going to step through 0, 1, and 2. When it reach 3, it will going to exit the loop. Okay, again, it's sufficient. Then I have R++ here. Okay, so I have second for loop here for me to control the looping for the column. Again, column start with 0. Why 0? Because index is always start with 0. Okay, so I have C. In order to control the loop, how many times for the loop for the column? So I know that it should reach 3. So I should reach something 4 here so that it can go through 0, 1, 2, and 3. When we reach 4, 4 less than 4 will exit the loop because you are going to outside the size of the array. Okay, then I have C++. For this 2 for loop, I already stepped through the entire array. Now, array asked me to do that. The question asked me to do adding some sum to it. Okay, I know that I have to create another variable. I call it sum. Okay, sum should functions here in order to plus sum, whatever sum here, plus what? Plus A with R and C. So that it step through the whole entire array of it. Okay, so don't declare an integer sum equal to 0 here because I'm calculating for the whole array. So you should have another creating a variable called sum equal to 0 outside the for loop. Okay, outside the for loop. Okay, by using these 3 lines, I already go through the whole array and adds the value into the sum. Go for the summation for the whole array. Is that clear? Hakimi have the answer. All right. So is that clear? Boleh? Okay. Next. Right. So when I say find the sum for each row, alamak, how should I do it? Find the sum for each row, meaning here, I would like to add out 0, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3. Okay, so I should have a sum. I have a value of sum that is actually 6 here. Okay, 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. Okay, I should have some value here. And 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11. I should have some value here. Okay, how should I calculate it? Okay, beside from the declaration, okay, beside from the I will not to repeat it. Okay, so now I know that. Okay, so now I know that when I want to go through each row, meaning there each row, so I'm gonna go through entire array, right? However, by row. Okay, by row. I know that I have to create another one that is row, controlling the row again. Okay, row less than 3. Okay, R++. Okay, so for each row, actually, I would like to reset sum equal to 0. Okay, for each row, I would like to reset sum equal to 0 to control and calculate sum for each row. That is the basic things that you have to know. Okay, then after that, I start to count whatever inside the column. Okay, C less than 4, then C++ here. Then again, it will be the same thing, sum plus equal to A, then I have R and C. Okay, for here, I will going to actually add another, see out here, saying that the sum for each row. okay, is, okay, I know the sum here will be representing the row. Again, I have to declare it sum equal outside the for loop. I reset it to 0 inside the loop. Okay, so it can calculate it. So after the calculation for the first one, dia akan keluar adalah 6. Of course, kalau you nak adalah inline ke sini pun boleh, tak ada masalah, supaya dia go for the next line. Okay, so this we're going to calculate the sum for each row. What will be the difference? You are going to know that the difference is here is calculating like this. Another one is I set this one. Okay, attention for this one. Is that clear? Boleh ke? Boleh kan? Okay, right. Okay, so I should something like row 6, 22, 38. Dia akan keluar lah. So find the largest element for this array. The largest element for this array. So it's the entire array. Okay, entire array. So again, I need to have for loop. Okay, for integer r equal to 0, r less than 3, r plus plus. Okay, so I have another one that is for loop. Okay, for integer column equal to 0, column less than 4, column plus plus. Okay, now largest. How should I do that? Ingat kita melibatkan the smallest set first element, right? Set the first element as largest ataupun smallest. Betul. So the first element is where? First element. The first element adalah kat sini. Betul. The first elements of this array kat sini. So I should set it largest. Of course, you have to declare largest equal to A with 0 and 0. Can you get it? Boleh ke? So when I step through the whole array, I should do some comparison. Okay? If whatever value A in the row and the column is greater than the largest that I set, then the largest should take over the value A with that particular row and column value. Okay, that is set the first elements as the largest, or process the largest, the first elements as the lowest ataupun smallest. Okay, this is the tips. Then after that, process as usual and compare each of the elements in between the elements with the largest. Okay, when it's found the elements is greater than the largest, they take over the value. Okay, they ambil the value of it. Okay, so this should be the answer. Is that clear?
Yes.
Right, okay. Then find the largest element in each row. Again, largest element in each row. Sini adalah the largest element in the array. What about the largest element in each row? Which elements? So each row, this one adalah the largest. This one adalah the largest. This one adalah the largest. How should I get it? Okay, how should I get it? Again, you have to go through each row, right? So integer r equal to 0, r less than 3, r plus plus. Okay, So here, I should able to set the first element in each row ni sebagai largest. Okay, so that's why I set it inside the for loop. For the row, the first one should be the A with the row, and always start with column 0 here. Nampak I set it as the first element in each row is the largest. Okay, then I'm going to check for the rest of the column. That is column equal to 1, then column less than 4, then column plus plus. Then I start compare. If whatever in that particular row and the column is greater than the largest that I set there, the largest should be take over the value in the current position. So this is going to find the largest in each row. Okay, so if you want to have a message, you should have add in a message cout. Okay, the largest in this row is, then should be the largest here. Okay, boleh end line supaya new line nanti. Okay, so this should be the answer. Can everyone get it? Again, compare this one. Largest adalah kat sini. Dia preset the first element in entire array. Okay, so when you find the largest in each row, this one is the things here. Is the attention here. So far, is that logic? Boleh. So this should be the answer. Right? So I think with that, that's all for today. Okay, that's all today. So to recap, number 1, at the end of it, you should able to declare a 2-dimension array. Can you do that? Declaration? Yes or no? Declaration.
Yes.
Yes, huh? Okay, everyone, yes. All right. Secondly, you should able to initialize a 2-dimension array. Cross-check. Boleh ke tak boleh?
Boleh.
Boleh. Walaupun
Boleh.
lemah dalam suara je. Wah, tapi boleh Okay, third. Okay, can you access the elements inside the array? By using index, index of row, let's say, and index of column, let's say. So this one is the index. This one is the index. Okay, so this is how you access. Number 4 here is actually do some 2D array operation. Okay, number 1, finding sum. Okay, number 2, finding largest. Okay, either in the entire array or specific row or specific column. Specific column kita tak terangkan dengan betul lah. Okay, but same thing as row. Okay, the same concept as row. Okay, so these are the things that you learn for today. Okay, is that clear? Boleh? Okay, right. Okay, so that's all. I'll stop the recording first. Thank you very much. Just stop the recording. Okay, wait, don't leave the group yet.